Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pamela for those of you who haven't been here before, and this video is going to be a little bit of a life update because a lot of stuff has been going on recently. I had a pretty big gap where I wasn't posting videos because of everything that was happening and just not having enough time on my hands, but now I'm back to hopefully update you guys about what's been happening and let my family know as well as my friends who watch me. So most of the people in my life know that for the semester of spring 2020 I was studying abroad. It was amazing. I had the most fun that I've ever had in my entire life there. Sadly, it was cut in half by what's been going on. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I won't be using specifics because YouTube is like blacklisting any videos that have any false information or false facts about what's happening, so I'm gonna keep it pretty broad whenever I'm discussing that. But it was cut very short. I came home March 17th, sadly, and I was supposed to come home May 31st. So it was a very different timeline than I had been expecting when leaving for study abroad, and it was really heartbreaking when it was happening. I'm gonna try to go step by step to everything that happened so you have kind of an idea of what the past few months of my life have looked like. So it was at the beginning of March that everything started happening. So when Trump put the ban on the United States, making it so that people couldn't come into or leave the United States for 30 days, it was really stressful. We were all freaking out. We didn't know if it applied to us because we were US citizens and we were studying abroad, and we were all really scared that we were gonna be trapped for kind of an unknown time period. So we ended up having a meeting with our program directors. We met them immediately the morning after all of this had happened, and this had happened at like 3 in the morning for us, so all of us were spamming our group chat talking about what could be the possibilities or the outcomes and being really sad because we thought that our study abroad was over. So we went to this meeting and basically they told us that everything in Spain was fine. They didn't see schools closing in the foreseeable future. They didn't think that it was gonna get as bad as everyone was making it out to be, and that we didn't need to freak out because even though the United States had this ban, it didn't apply to us because we are US citizens and because we were study abroad students. It was kind of like a special circumstance. But she did say that she didn't want us to do anything too rash or anything that could put us in any risk. So she told us not to travel anywhere, not to really do anything, to just stay home and be as careful as we can be, both for ourselves, for our host families, and for our families back at home. But at that point, by the time we got to that meeting, over half of the group was already leaving or planning on leaving. All of them were like packing overnight, leaving the next day, leaving that night. It was insane. I was getting really emotional, and that day I cried a lot because I was just so stressed out about all my friends leaving. A lot of them had parents who just told them, I booked a flight for you, you're leaving tomorrow, and they had absolutely no say in it. And a lot of people were really wanting to leave because they didn't want to be trapped in Spain with nothing to do but sit inside and quarantine. And on the day that we had that meeting and everything pretty much blew up was the day we were supposed to be leaving for Paris, which was the last trip that I had planned. I had already paid so much for it and I was so excited to go. We got there and they told us, those of you who are planning to go to Paris today, that is a no-go. You should not be going to Paris. Traveling abroad right now is really risky. We don't know what's gonna happen with the borders or at airports with germs, and there's just a lot of factors that were stressful when you think about traveling in that situation. And so I was like, okay, I'm the type of person that when an authority figure tells me to do something, I do it, like no questions asked. I am not confrontational or risky in the least. And so the second she said that, I was like, yes, I'm staying home. I will be sitting in my bed stressing about all of this the entire weekend. And that was what I decided. There was only 4 of us at that point left who were going. It had originally been 9 people that were going on this trip to Paris. We had our Airbnb booked, we had tickets to the Louvre, we had all these things planned, and only 4 people were going in the end. So I was like, no, this is ridiculous. I need to be safe. I need to think about myself and my health. So I wasn't gonna go. A few hours later, I had multiple friends telling me that they knew I would regret it. If they had had a ticket and they weren't leaving, they would go. Just telling me all these things that were really getting me pumped up to want to go. So I ended up deciding to go to Paris that night, the night that Trump initiated the ban on the United States. I was literally like cramping in my stomach, so nervous the entire time because I was like, I'm gonna get stuck in Paris. Everyone in Spain is gonna say I told you so, and my advisors in Spain are gonna actually hate me. Oh my god, the entire time I was packing, my stomach was cramping, I was like crying, it was not a good time for Pamela. I was so nervous because they specifically told us, do not go to Paris, this is dangerous, you could get trapped there, borders could close. They had no idea what was gonna happen, so they said it's smart to stay here. And I knew in my head it was smart to stay, but I also knew that this was gonna be the last trip of my study abroad. It could be the last week of my study abroad, and I wanted to go have fun and forget about all my problems. So I decided I was gonna go. Here I'll insert some clips from the trip.
This is hard.
You mean red butterflies?
Oh
Yes, of course.
Make them change for my vlog. This is so cool.
I hope AJ Curry starves and dies slowly.
Look at that Parisian man we met.
C'est va?
No, that he did not sell that.
Merci, c'est va?
Wait, again?
Merci, c'est va?
Bonjour, tout à fait.
You out of content already?
Wait, are you filming?
Yes.
I didn't prepare. I have no. What are my lines?
I just realized I haven't vlogged in literally like multiple days. We are walking to the Eiffel Tower. We have been walking to the Eiffel Tower for over an hour because we decided not to take an Uber, which was probably a bad decision. Cole, tell the vlog the fun fact about the Eiffel Towers.
That it was only supposed to be temporary and last 20 years for the World Fair, but then it was obviously left alone. Pretty interesting stuff. 100 years later. I've had it.
Did yours look like this?
No, they were like in like a little like fried ball.
Cole, show the vlog the new glasses.
What's up, world? When in Paris, you try escargot and ravioli.
Ravioli.
You gotta try one.
Dude, just eat it,
Your
dog.
face.
I can't believe I was asking.
Yes, snail shit on my phone.
Small and
AJ,
small.
what's the verdict?
It's not bad.
Not bad. Tastes like octopus.
Is that good? You don't look sure.
Fucking you. Now when I drive around, don't feel it all.
Oh my god, it's happening.
Why it's getting colder
happening. Oh
when
my
the
God.
sun come out. Might just waste away, don't know what life about. Another day go by, don't know what got me down. June blues, yeah, I got the June blues, yeah. Walk down like.
It was literally, when I tell you it was the funnest trip of my life, it was the funnest trip of my life. And especially because there was only 4 people, we had an Airbnb, a half-empty Airbnb that was so beautiful because there were so few people, and because all of them were guys except me, it was so easy to just like go to one site a day and then just like chill for the rest of the day. Sometimes when I'm with like a huge group, especially with the girls in my group, were definitely very, I want to see this, this, and this, which is usually how I am, so I like loved it. But on this trip, because I was the only girl and I was just kind of going with the flow, it was so nice. We would like be like, okay, we're going to see the Eiffel Tower today, and then we just roam around, eat. There wasn't like a ton of pressure to just do as much as possible because they really didn't care. They just wanted to see certain things and just kind of relax and go to restaurants. I never thought in a million years that would be the funnest trip that I ever went on, but it was amazing. It was just so relaxing and fun. We had movie nights like every night, and it was so much fun. But towards the end of the trip was when things got a little bit shaky. It was like our second to last day, I think, and we got news that airports were closing down. So we were all freaking out because there was 2 people in the group that were going back to Spain and 2 people in the group that were going to the United States. So the 2 people going to the United States were like freaking out, rebooking flights, booking like multiple flights, trying to figure out the best way to get back home as soon as they could. Me and Kurt were going back to Spain, so we were just kind of chilling, and I was very stressed about getting stuck in Paris just because of the fact that I did not have the money to just pay to live in Paris every single day, especially because we only had a certain amount of days in our Airbnb. So I was very stressed. We went back to the Airbnb, and the 2 people going back to the US were literally on the phones for like hours, talking to and calling everybody you could think of about what to do. And me and Kurt were just kind of sitting watching YouTube videos like, Kurt was fine, he doesn't care about anything. Cole and AJ were like stressed to the max, and I was stressed to the max because I always match stress levels, so it was just Not good for me. But everything ended up being okay. AJ and Cole did return home a little bit earlier than they had planned. Me and Kurt returned a day earlier than we were supposed to because our flight got canceled. We had to reschedule it. We ended up pulling an all-nighter. It was just all this stuff. I've never been more happy to have been peer pressured into a trip than with my Paris trip. Like, I would have regretted it so hard if I didn't go because that was just amazing. It was so much fun. The Eiffel Tower was beautiful. Parisians are angels. It was just the best. And I just wanted to say that I'm sorry that I didn't get a ton of clips from Paris, but the second we got this airport information, I was so stressed and I realized just how serious things were getting, and because of that, I kind of subconsciously decided that I didn't want to film anymore because I knew this was our last moments abroad, which was really sad to kind of swallow that pill. So I decided to stop filming and I had so much fun. It was really just a nice way to top off my study abroad. So we ended up leaving early and we made it home safe. Everything was fine. I was really excited to appeal and get to stay in Spain, hopefully, because if your appeal is approved, you can stay and continue your study abroad. But if it isn't approved, they could threaten you with losing credits and all this other complicated stuff. So I get back home ready to take on Spain, stay there as long as I can, and I just kind of felt bombarded by people wanting me to return home. I had family members and close friends who were telling me that they thought it was really unsafe, that they were worried about me and all this stuff that was just making me feel really guilty. I didn't want to go home, but I ended up getting a flight booked for the next day because it was the soonest flight. So I got home on a Monday, I believe it was a Monday or a Tuesday, and then I left the next morning. So I was packing all night, crying all night. It was so sad. I don't even want to think about it too much because it was just the worst night, and I was Snapchatting people, talking to people about how I was leaving, and they were all really relieved and happy that I wasn't staying because they were just worried about me. And even though I wanted to stay and stick it out as long as I possibly could, I really didn't want to put my family under that stress of worrying about me and thinking that it's worse, because a lot of them were very stressed and I just felt too guilty to stay, especially because in Spain, when I returned home, it was insane. I was never expecting it to be that way. In our last day in Paris, everything closed down. We ended up having to go to a grocery store and get food to cook in our Airbnb because it was just so closed down, like every single restaurant, and it ended up saving us money and it was really fun to cook, but it was just kind of like, whoa, things are getting a little bit more serious now. We got picked to Spain and it was like that, but 10 times worse. Everything was shut down. There was no one on any streets, and the only reason you could leave the house is if you were going to get food, taking an animal for a walk, or going to an essential job. If you left the house for longer periods than doing those things, the cops would stop you, ask you questions. It was very intense. I knew that I was going to be locked in the house every single day, not allowed to leave, and I could tell that my host family were pretty worried. They were cleaning everything. They told me every time I come back in the house from outside, I have to change all of my clothes, take a hot shower, wash my face, wash my hands, all these different things that were just really starting to get to me, because I wasn't personally scared about contracting it, but I was nervous about just being so stressed all the time and them being stressed and just being in that little apartment with them all the time. I really wanted to stay so that I could practice my Spanish, because that's the entire reason that I went to Spain, was so I could practice my Spanish. It was literally the only purpose for me going abroad, was so that I could become fluent, and sadly that didn't happen. I definitely improved a lot, but with only going for half of the amount of time I had anticipated, I really didn't get to do as much as I wanted to. So I sadly had to make the decision to leave Spain, and it was not a fun decision. Even when I made it, I felt like I regretted it immediately because I didn't want to leave, but I knew that I needed to, just because of everything that was going on, and I was so unsure of how things were going to pan out. I just felt like I needed to be with my family, and it was really sad because I wanted to stay longer, and I had no idea coming back that night that that was going to be my last night in Spain. I have a few clips here that I might insert. I don't have a ton, but fine as 18 hours of travel can be. I got back and my boyfriend picked me up, which was really sweet of him, and we ended up quarantining together for the 2 weeks because we didn't want to expose any of his roommates or my family, and my family lived in my sister's house with her and her husband for 2 weeks, which seems very interesting considering the amount of people that were in their little house made for like a couple and maybe a kid. They had an entire family plus them, which was really sweet of them. I'm so happy that all of them are safe and all of us are feeling healthy and good, because I was really nervous about possibly being a carrier or anything, but everything's okay. My family is safe, and that's really all that I can ask for. Then I also just wanted to let you guys know this is kind of really weird to be talking about on YouTube, but I wanted to just have a little small portion about this because a lot of my family and friends watch this who I don't see on an everyday basis, and I figure it's easier for you guys to find out on here than it is for me to tell every single one of you. And yeah, I just thought it would be simpler for everyone if I just talk about it on here, and I tell you guys about the majority of my life, so I figured I'd talk about this. A lot of you guys have seen in my past videos, I have been dating my boyfriend Logan for a very long time, and we recently broke up. It's been pretty difficult, especially because we're quarantining, so I can't really go places or do things to fully distract myself, but I've been doing fine. I'm not gonna get super in depth about it on here out of respect for him. We just are no longer together, which is really weird to even think about because he's been my best friend since I was 14, which is insane because now I am 20. And it's been really hard. I'm just trying to get used to everything and how different things are now. I still love him so much and I wish the best for him. I just wanted to put this in here so that my family and friends would be updated about what's been happening in my life. And it's been really different. I've just been trying to get through it and kind of distract myself. I've been working out so much, more than I've ever worked out, I think, in my entire life. Every single day I've been working out for multiple hours and then stretching for half an hour after that, and it's been really good for me. I think it's really helped me feel more positive because of those endorphins, and it helps with my mood so much, and I'm really like starting to fall in love with working out every day. It's been really helping just like keep my brain occupied and keep me focused on myself and trying to improve myself in this time that we're all stuck in our homes. And I've also just been hanging out with my brother a lot, which has been so much fun. I missed him so much, and just doing schoolwork, doing anything I can to not just sit around my bed all day and think about it. I know that it was for the best, and that definitely has to do with why I haven't uploaded in a while, because I have just been trying to get through all this stuff in my head and work out how I'm feeling and what's going on. It's just really different to get used to not having that person there every second of the day for every up and down that you have, and so I'm really trying to get better on relying on myself for those things. And it's definitely difficult, and I'm hoping to be able to share with you guys like the different things that I'm going through with it. I've been wrapped up in that relationship for the entirety of my adult life, and I'm ready for some time to myself. And yeah, I guess you guys will get to come with me along on this journey. Overall, I just wanted to say that I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to study abroad, even if it was cut in half. I literally made some of the most amazing friends I have ever made, and the fact that a lot of these people who I became close friends with go to my university, but I had never met any of them before, is actually amazing. I think it's so cool that we get to go home, and once classes begin again in August, we can all see each other and remember our times in Spain and how amazing it was, because it was amazing. I don't want to get emotional because that's stupid, but I just want to tell any of my friends watching this that I met over study abroad that I love you guys, and I'm so grateful that I got to meet every single one of you, and I cannot wait for us to get to spend more time together because I miss you all so much and I love you. I refuse to mess up this makeup. It's the first time I've done my makeup in like months, and it looks beautiful, so I'm not gonna ruin it right now. It's gonna be fine, we're gonna be fine. But I'm so grateful to have studied abroad. It was the best experience of my life by far. If you ever have the opportunity to study abroad after all of this stuff that has been happening is over, I highly, highly recommend it. I might make some more videos about my experiences and the things that we did in the future. Now I know exactly why people say it was the best time of their life, because it was the best, I think, 2.5, January, February, March. It was the best 2.5 months of my life, and I have never been more grateful that I went. Even though it got cut short, I would never go back and change it to a different semester or anything, because those specific people are exactly who I want to have met, and I I just love them so much. Hopefully you guys will see them in future vlogs some more when I'm back at the university, and I'm really excited to get to spend more time with them because I freaking love them all. They're literally amazing people. And just as some little extra info, if anybody wants to know, I do plan on returning to Spain. I'm hoping that after I graduate with my bachelor's, I can return to Spain to teach English for a short period, because the Spanish embassy has this specific job that you can apply for to teach English to students, and I'm really hoping I can do that because you don't have to have like a teaching certificate. You take this online course and they will pay for your living and housing, and I really want to do that before I hopefully apply to grad school to become a nurse practitioner. Of course, this is all very far in the future, so none of it may happen. My life may completely change by that point in time, but as of now, I do plan on going back to Spain. I do plan on seeing my host family again and experiencing the beautiful city of Alicante again. Thank you so much if you've stuck around to this point. I know this video is probably a bit of a handful to wrap your head around. There's a lot of information in it, but I just wanted to catch you guys up. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
Thank you.